So it's late May, early June. You're a high school trumpet player in the state of Texas, and school's out. Now what? Are you going to take the summer off? Or are you going to practice? If you're preparing for All-State, you might be thinking to yourself, how am I going to practice for All-State when the music isn't even announced yet? The music for Texas All-State auditions, All-State Band, All-State Orchestra, the music for those auditions isn't announced until late July. So what can you do between now and then to prepare yourself for All-State? Well, let me tell you this, your competition isn't taking the summer off. The best high school trumpet players in Texas are not taking a break. Most of them are going to practice through the summer. In fact, the top players are practicing at least 2 hours a day or more. So what are you going to do? Now, like I said, you might be thinking, what am I going to practice if I don't know what the music is yet? There's plenty that you can practice now. In fact, I'll go as far as to say if your skill level is not up at the level where the music is, you're going to have a lot of trouble. The last thing you want when they announce the music is to have to learn a new skill before you start practicing the music. That's going to cost you precious time. So you want to have all your skills covered before the music is announced. Another thing that you want to do is you want to be as familiar as possible as you can be with that music. You're right, we don't have the etudes yet, but what we do know is that the music this year is coming from Arbon's 14 characteristic studies. And there's only 14 of them, and there are professional recordings of them. There's a whole set of the 14 on YouTube, and then there are some very well done professional recordings that you can get. One of them is a download album that you can buy from Thomas Hooton. And then there's another one that I like a lot, but you have to buy the CD physically, by David Baldwin. He recorded also all 14 of the characteristic studies. I recommend that over the summer you listen to all 14 of those characteristic studies at least 10 times each. And in fact, if you want to do even better than that, listen to each of those characteristic studies 10 times while not looking at the music, and then another 10 times following along with the music. Now, let me just say this, while you're following along, don't try to finger. In fact, make yourself not finger, because you might be accidentally learning wrong stuff along the way. Just follow along with the music as you listen. That's all it takes. That'll help create a psychological connection between what the music looks like and what it sounds like as you're listening. The other stuff you want to look at is just becoming a better trumpet player. Get your skill, I was talking about earlier, get your skill level higher. You want to do that by practicing arpeggios. And you know what, if you're not my student, this video is actually for my students. If you're not my student, you can get exercises for arpeggios out of the Arbon book. I have my copies here. My Arbon books always get torn up. They're big, but we use them a lot. My most recent copy is the oldest copy I have. This copy here is about 100 years old. If you're a trumpet player, you need to have a copy of this book anyway. The arpeggios in the Arbon book are on page 142. The scales are on page 59. You need to practice scales. You need to be fluent in every key. And that's not so that you can have the keys that you need for the etudes when they come out. It's more than that. A trumpet player that can play in all the keys has more technique. The more technique you have, the easier your music becomes. So it's not just about having the scales for your song. It's not just about having the scales for that one piece. You want to have all your scales because that just makes you a better player. Also, you want to get better at playing songs. On page 191 in the Arbon book, it starts with some easy songs and it just progresses, more difficulty, gets more and more difficult as you progress through the book. If you're my student, don't do those. I have better exercises for you that are tailor fit for you specifically. Okay, so we'll talk about that in your lesson. If you are serious about making All-State next year, now is the time to bring it up in your lesson. Don't wait until 2 weeks before your audition. Don't wait until school starts. Don't wait until the band directors give you the music at school. Now is the time to practice your getting ready for All-State. Now when school gets out. This is the time that you're going to have the most time to dedicate, and it's when you don't have all these other distractions that happen during the rest of the school year. Now you can practice the stuff that you need to practice for your own individual playing, your own individual musicianship. Okay, so one more thing. In the state of Texas, and rightfully so, in the state of Texas, if you don't have a good sound, you won't make All-State. So if you don't have a good sound, and you have to be brutally honest with yourself, if you don't have a good sound, get a good sound. Now is the time to do that. In your lesson, we will talk about how to get a better sound. If you don't have a teacher, get a teacher. It's almost impossible. If you have a bad sound, I'm not saying it's impossible to get a good sound without a teacher. I'm saying it's almost impossible to get a good sound if you have a bad sound already without a teacher. There are some naturally good sounding trumpet players out there, but if you have a bad sound, you need a teacher to help you get a good sound. That's not one of those things you can figure out yourself. So let me recap. Number one thing you need to do, you need to listen to the music at least 10 times per etude for all 14. That's 140 listenings, okay? I know that sounds like a lot, but you'll thank me for it when the music comes out. And if you want to be more competitive, listen to each one 20 times, 10 times without the music, 10 times following the music. And then finally, get your technique up. Practice your arpeggios, practice your scales, practice all the stuff that you need to bring your skill level up to the level that the music is in those etudes. And then finally, the most important thing, get a good sound. You need a good sound. Okay, feel free to email me at my website, eddielewis.com, EDDIELEWIS.com, or you can leave a message here beneath the video on YouTube. I will get back with you to answer any questions you might have. If you need a teacher and you live in Texas or Houston specifically, let me know and we can work something out. All right, thank you. Good luck. And work hard.